Hey you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I would love to thank you guys for supporting me and showing my channel so much love. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at It's Action Figure, and you can find me on Twitter at It's Nosajj with 3 J's. That's ITSNOSAJJJ. So today we're going to be talking about the first time I caught an STD. This is a very touchy subject for you guys, and I want to go in by saying having an STD do not make you dirty or nasty. It's the fact that some people have STDs and they let it go untreated and they pass it on. That isn't healthy and that isn't the best way. So in this video today, you guys, I'm going to be sharing with you how I contracted my first STD, how I cured it, and just everything else you guys might want to know. This is for educational purposes. So to all my younger viewers and to all my older viewers, remember, safe sex is the best sex, all right? So when I contracted my first STD, I was actually dealing with a male and a female. So I know you guys might be thinking, well, how you know who gave you your STD if you was dealing with a male and a female, right? Don't worry, I'm about to get into all of that, right? So a lot of my videos, these are me recalling incidents that happened throughout my life. And when I caught my STD, I was actually sexually active since I was about 15 years old, and I contracted my first STD when I was around 17, you guys. 17, 16, 17, and whatever the case. It was a real hesitant, tricky time for me as a young person. I didn't really have the guidance of people telling me like, oh, wear condoms. I actually didn't even have the birds and the bees talk with my family or like none of that. Anything sexually that I learned, I kind of learned on my own or through like little classes in school, which is why sex ed is really important, you guys. All right, so here's the story. At the time, I was dealing with this female named S. I'm going to call her S. And I was dealing with a guy named J. So these two people were actually attending the same school, you guys. Me and J. Not the J that I usually talk about in my videos, but this is actually a different J. I don't want to say his name because I don't really like, putting people on Front Street and like things like that. But me and Jay were actually dealing with each other for a nice little minute during my high school era, and so was me and S. So when me and Jay were dealing with each other, we didn't really do anything sexual for like a nice little minute. Like sex was the last thing that was on our minds. So if you guys have a mom like me, my mom is the type of mom who took all her kids to the doctors, dentists, like everything. I'm talking about supervised dentist visits, doctor visits. My mom was on point. My mom was on top of it, right? So particularly this one time, my mom took me to the doctor, my pediatrician. It came back that I had a sexually transmitted disease. I don't want to say what disease it was, just to I don't really want to give too much information, but I promise you, you guys are going to get your light. So my mom taking me to the doctor, just like a regular doctor visit, and my tests come back that I have an STD. At the time, I was dealing with a male and a female, but keep in mind, me and the male wasn't even sexually active. We were more so talking. You guys know I was just coming into my sexuality around like 15, so I was really like experimenting and like dabbling in what I thought I liked or what society found appropriate for me as a gay black male. So the guy who I was dealing with actually went to school with the girl as well. So the guy would say like little slick comments to her throughout the day, like, oh, you about to go see my boyfriend. But mind you, she think that he's playing because he isn't openly out. He nobody knows he's gay. Nobody even knows I'm gay. Nobody knows like we're talking. So when they seen each other in the hallways, he would say like little slick comments like, oh, you about to go see Jason? Yeah, you know that's my nigga, right? So like she'll be like, stop playing with me, But the whole time I'm seriously like dating this guy, right? So I go to the doctor and whatever the case. I think I went to the doctor maybe like a week or like 2 weeks prior. I had a best friend named Bashira. Hey Shira, if you're watching this, I love you, baby. I got a best friend named Shira, and I pretty much told her like all my business. So keep in mind, me and the guy were not sexually active. And when me and the female decided to be sexually active, I think like a week or like 2 weeks prior, my mom just literally took me to the doctor and like all of this stuff, right? So the first time I goes to the doctor, it's a regular checkup with me and my brothers, and like, all tests come back positive. I mean, negative. I know I just said I went to the doctor and I found out I had an STD, but just stick with me throughout the story that happens down the line. So when me and the girl finally do decide to like have sexual intercourse, we're literally fucking like rabbits. Like, I'm skipping school, she's skipping school to come over my house, like, and we're always using condoms at the time when we first started having sex. It was this one particular time where we were actually using a condom, and I never understood how people be like, oh, condoms break or like condoms pop, whatever the case. But no, this one particular time we were having sex and the condom literally popped while I was having sex with her. So I didn't notice that the condom popped at first because we just like casually having sex. And then I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, yo, this feels too good. Like, if you guys use condoms, like there's literally a difference between going bare into somebody and using a condom. So while we're having sex, the condom literally pops in my head. I'm like, damn, this shit feel good. I go to look down at my cheeky leaky and I see the condom roll down to the base of my cheeky leaky. So if you guys just now join me, a cheeky leaky is a penis. I try to keep it real PG-13 for my viewers, and plus I got a lot of kids around me as well. So we use the term cheeky leaky. We don't say like penis, and we don't say like, because that'll be weird for a kid to come up to you like my penis, whatever. So we're having sex. I noticed the sensation change, and I looked down at my cheeky leaky, and I noticed that the condom is literally at the base of it. So now I'm like, oh my God. Instantly, I stopped humping, and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, yo, the condom just popped. Like, mind you, I'm like freaking out because this is I just don't know what's about to happen. So now she felt kind of offended that I was freaking out because the condom popped. So now she's like, oh, get off of me. So now she don't even want to have sex no more. But that was kind of like off-putting to me, but I was younger. So I'm not really thinking nothing of it. You feel me? So I say like a week later or maybe like 2 weeks later, I go back to the doctor. When I go back to the doctor actually find out that I have a STD. What STD it was, I'm not really going to say it because like I said, I want to keep it real, like straight and like to the point. So I find out I got an STD. The doctor calls my mom. You don't even supposed to disclose information like that over the phone. My doctor was just so unprofessional. That's why I ended up like transferring from her anyway. So anyway, she calls my mom and tells my mom that I have a STD or a STI. A STI is a sexually transmitted infection, and a STD is a sexually transmitted disease, right? So my mom calls me. She like, oh, I don't know what you've been doing, but you got a STD. You feel me? She was like, oh, call your father. So now I'm like, call my father. She like, yeah, like he know what to do with stuff like that, whatever that's supposed to mean. So I'm on the phone with my dad. My dad leading me through the steps. He's like, okay, what type of medicine you need? So me and my dad goes to the doctor, get the prescription for the medicine that I need, right? So I go to the pharmacy, fill out I go to the pharmacy, hands them the script. And, you gotta wait a little bit for the medicine, but the medicine I had, you had to keep refrigerated. My doctor was closed when like everything finally did get like finalized and things, so I had to wait till the next morning. So I put the medicine in a refrigerator. So now I'm freaking out, you feel me? In my head, I know exactly where my STD came from. I'm not freaking out because I have an STD. I'm freaking out because now I have to tell this girl that, hey, like, you got an STD, you feel me? So first thing I did when I found out, I'm calling her. Like, I'm not calling her, like, blaming her, like, oh, you gave me an STI, oh, you gave me an STD. Like, some people be really vulgar when they have STDs, and some people try to brush it off on, like, other people. Instead, it takes two people to make a mistake. And in this case, you guys, we actually had precautions to prevent even contracting an STD. So the first thing she said is, oh, I don't have an STD. Now, mind you, keep in fact, I know for a fact, Like, this is a fact. Because I literally just came from the doctor a week before even having sex with you. Now I go back to the doctor and I got an STD. So I'm telling her, like, I'm not about to accuse you. I'm not about to go back and forth with you. I'm telling you I have an STD, which means you have an STD as well. We literally just got finished having sex. So she like, oh, I don't have an STD, but I'm gonna go to the doctor anyway. That was the end of the conversation. She ends up going to the doctor. I think she went to emergency care. So she goes to the ER. I guess the ER, when you guys go to an ER for like a STI or like a STD check, they're going to do a rapid HIV test. Some tests aren't going to be able to come back that day. It probably come back in a span of like 1 or like 2 days. I'm very educated about like the doctor process because, like I said, my mom used to be on top of it as an adult. It just carried on into adulthood. So when she finally gets the paperwork from the ER that day, she sends me a picture of a HIV test, you guys. Mind you, I'm literally telling this girl what STD I have. So at this point, there's no reason for you to be showing me a HIV test. So I felt like she was trying to like pull a wool over my eyes, or she just genuinely, sincerely didn't know how to go like about the process right. Because I know for a fact that the other STD test did not come back, especially if you go to the ER. It couldn't have. Moral of the story, I know you got an STD because I have an STD as well. So it wasn't even us going back and forth about like who gave who an STD. It was more so like me telling you you have an STD and you're denying having an STD, but I know for a fact you have an STD, and then you sending me an HIV test. I didn't say you had HIV. I didn't say you have herpes. Like that's like you telling somebody like, hey, I have herpes, and then they go get an HIV test and be like, hey, I don't have it. No, that's an HIV test. It don't work like that. So fast forward, you guys, I left that situation alone because I felt like she was trying to like play mind games with me, or like she felt like I was one of those like dirty boys who didn't really know like how things work. So the next day, I take the medicine out the refrigerator and me and my dad goes to the doctor. Now, mind you guys, this is my first time getting an STD. I don't know what's about to happen. I'm nervous. I'm like, and now that I think back on it, it's really nothing to be nervous about because things happen. And on top of that, I actually took precautionary steps, but it still happened to me. So the type of STD that I had required I get a shot. Now, look, guys, the needle was literally about like this big. I'm not exaggerating. Like the needle was literally like super huge, you guys. And the doctor is like, oh, pull down your pants. I'm like, my pants? Like, I'm thinking she about to stick the needle in my cheeky leaky. You feel me? So she like, yeah, pull down your pants and then like turn around. So I'm like, turn around. Like now all type of things going through my head. Do you guys know? She literally stuck a big ass needle and my ass cheeks. So this is like where it was. Like the needle was about like right here. Oh, shout out to my fit too, by the way, you guys. Shout out to my fit. We have Jen TTO who actually sponsored this fit for the video or whatever. So once I get the shot in my gluteus maximus, I'm thinking that like, all right, so this is like everything I have to do, like I'm done, right? Trick my ass. Not only did I have to get that shot that day, big ass shot. I'm talking about the shot hurt it so bad, you guys. I couldn't even like walk. Like I literally was walking with a limp. So now the doctor informs me, oh, you have 2 more doses of this shot. So I'm like, what? 2 more doses? In my head, I'm thinking like, it's literally about to like happen right then and there. But she's like, no, come back in like a week, I think it was, or maybe like a few days, and we're gonna give you your other round of the shot. So I had to go back 2 more times, you guys, and they literally, injected me with the medicine. I think it was like penicillin. So they had injected me with the penicillin. If you guys don't know, penicillin help fight certain diseases and infections. So penicillin is like great medicine. So I go back 2 more times for this shot, you guys. Mind you, the first time I'm all shy, I'm a little freaked out. My dad is with me, like, so my dad is kind of like trying to inform me, but he's really just like nonchalant about the whole process, right? So after the 3 shots that I had to receive, you guys, they later on ran blood tests to see if the disease or the infection was like out my body and whatever. Thank God it was. But my doctor or my pediatrician at the time said something really like offensive to me. And it had nothing to do with like my shot. She was literally commenting on my hair. I think I had like, if my hair wasn't like this, I know I had an afro for a fact. And she said something like regarding my culture that made me like really uncomfortable. I just felt like I was being judged by her all the time. So that ended up having me transfer my doctors and whatever. So fast forward, after my shots and whatever the case may be, she runs my blood work, and now the blood work and the 3 shots is because once you have this disease or once you have this infection, you guys, they want to actually make sure that it's out your blood, right? So you don't want to get shots and then you still have the disease dormant in your body. So she was a pretty good doctor as well, but it was just like too uncomfortable for me. I ended up changing my doctor, and me and the girl who actually gave me the STD, you guys, we're actually like perfectly fine, perfectly cool. And I'm about to sound so dumb when I say this. We actually started dealing with each other again, you guys. Keep in mind, I'm young. I'm like 16, 17 at the time. I don't really like, the bar is in hell. Like, you feel me? It was a very uncomfortable predicament for me, but that's why I tell you guys, like, having an STD or having an STI do not make you dirty. Make sure you get checked. Make sure you guys treat the STD you have. Make sure you guys treat the STI you have, because contracting an STD and contracting an STI is pretty normal. Sometimes there's nothing you can do to prevent it. I actually used a condom and I still got an STD. You feel me? But they'll tell you on condoms as well that I know I got a condom somewhere around here, but I don't want to get up. They'll tell you on the condom, like, it's not 100% guaranteed, like, against anything, even pregnancy. It's like 99% or like 90%. Of course, I would be that 1%, right? So now my mother looking at me crazy. My father don't really care because he probably already had like 3 STDs throughout his life. You feel me? It was just like really crazy and really uncomfortable. But I'm sharing this story to help you guys practice safe sex. I'm also sharing this story to let you guys know it's okay, because my first time contracting an STD, I felt uncomfortable going to the doctor. I felt uncomfortable picking up my medicine. I just felt like everybody knew, like, oh, he got this, he got that. Like, it was just thoughts in the back of my head, right? But the older I got, I realized that's not always the case, you guys. And guess what? Never feel uncomfortable for taking care of yourself. You feel me? Never feel, if you have to sit in a clinic, if you have to sit in a doctor, then do that, because it was multiple times after that, and that was my first time contracting that STD. So I have caught STDs on multiple cases, you guys. And like I said, sometimes even if you like do precautionary steps, there is literally nothing that you guys can do, right? So that was my story about the first time I ever caught an STD. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys take something from it besides me just telling my business, right? Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at It's Action Figure. Also follow my TikTok at It's Action Figure. You can find me on Twitter at It's Nosajj with 3 J's. That's ITSNOSAJJ. And I love you guys so much. I have to come up with a name for my fan base on YouTube, unless y'all want me to just call y'all Figures, because I am the action figure, of course, so why wouldn't my fans be called Figures, right? I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting story time, and don't hesitate to comment down below what you guys might want to hear. With that being said, Action Figure signing out.